Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be Facebook posts and your relationship. Well, I've got an email here from a viewer who he's noticing some weird things about his girlfriend and what she's actually posting as far as their statuses go. So he's trying to decipher what's really going on and what it's actually telling him about her overall feelings. Because obviously his spidey sense is tingling a little bit, and he knows something is a little bit amiss, but he can't quite put his finger on it. So before I get into it, I got a quote I'd like to share with you. And it says, "When it comes to relationships, actions always speak louder than words. If people who you are dating seem to say all the right things in person, but their actions often don't seem to match their words, you should bottom line their actions to determine how much they really care about you. People will often sugarcoat what they say or exaggerate how much they really care in order to avoid awkward moments or confrontations. When their words don't match their actions, always assume their actions are the most reliable means to decipher their true intentions or feelings." Well, I have a lot of women friends, and what's kind of cool is just being an observer and knowing what I know about this topic. I can always tell what's going on with their relationships, and you see the same pattern over and over. It's like when a relationship is going real well, you'll see tons of pictures, tons of gushing posts, pictures of the two of them going places, doing things together. And then over time, as the relationship starts to kind of run its course, you'll see those messages start to taper off. And then you'll notice that they don't seem to be spending as much time together as they once did. And then the first thing that usually disappears is their relationship status. Whereas normally they say, so-and-so I'm in a relationship with so-and-so. That disappears, and then the status goes away completely. And then what you notice is, a week or two or a few weeks later, there's absolutely no posts of the guy or any pictures of the dude being there anymore. And then you might see her relationship status pop up as single again, and everybody goes, "Oh, what happened?" Because everybody wants to know what happened. And it's just really interesting. It's like you see the same pattern over and over. And that's one of the things I love about what I do. And in teaching this to other people is that you can watch this stuff. You can become an observer of other people and really gain some insight. And plus it confirms the things that I talk about. You can see it in your own life, whether people that you know on Facebook that are in a relationship with one another, just watching them and seeing their statuses, because you'll learn a lot. You'll pick up on a lot of things. So let's jump into his email. He says, "Hi, Coach. I'm in my mid to late 40s, and my girlfriend is in her late 30s. My girlfriend is good looking but has a low self-esteem. I'm average looking, and we got together as she wants to find some spirituality, and I have my spirituality, which I talked to her about. So I guess we kind of have a relationship where I seem to know more things than her. I wouldn't say we have an equal relationship because I do talk a lot." Well, that's usually where guys can go wrong when they're dating women, is they talk too much. And so when you carry too much of the conversation, especially like when it comes to this topic, she might take it as that you're preaching to her or telling her the way she should think instead of asking questions and seeing what her perspective is. A lot of guys think, hey, if she's listening, she must just think I'm the most awesome thing since sliced bread, and they never take the time to get the girl to ask questions, because I've found over the years, it's not that you don't tell her about you or what you're doing or what you're up to, but you want her to ask about it. Why? Well, if she asks about it, then it means that she's actually interested. But if you're always just talking and volunteering things and telling her things, you never really put yourself in a position where you can be the observer and notice whether or not she's actually asking you. Because if she's asking you, it means she's interested. But if you're always talking and telling her, you're making assumptions about your relationship. And as we start to get into some of the actions that you see here, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He says, because I do talk a lot and I tell her what I think about spirituality, but she seems to like to listen. we decided not, this is kind of bizarre. He says we decided not to be on each other's Facebook, even though we both are frequent Facebook posters. Because in her last relationship, so obviously it was her idea not to have you on her Facebook. You should definitely pay attention to that. He says she had to block her ex so she wasn't reminded of him, as photos would come up in the news feed. That tells me that you're not important enough to her, and she doesn't feel comfortable about the status of your relationship to publicly broadcast everything to everybody and that's on her Facebook. He says, I also have agreed not to be friends on Facebook because I like to keep private. However, we both changed our relationship statuses to in a relationship. She liked my business page, but I didn't like her business page in return because she works in the entertainment industry, and her business page is full of photos of women in erotica poses, and I don't want people to see that on my Facebook. That tells me that your goals and your values are not really completely aligned there. That tells me at some level you're not really completely accepting of who she is and her lifestyle. He says, I had friends over at my house and one checked his Facebook status on my computer, but he accidentally left it open. I didn't realize until after he left. So as he is friends with my girlfriend, I had a look at her page. So one of your buddies is friends with your girlfriend, but you're not on Facebook. You should pay attention to that, dude. He says, and this is what I want to ask your opinion about. We've only been together officially for 4 months, and before that we were dating for a month. In the beginning of our relationship, I can see on Facebook she seems happy and talks about me and tries to get people to like my business page. That's a good sign, because when you're not around, she's building you up to her friends. He says she announces when we were spending the weekend together and seemed happy when I took her to Paris after 3 months of our dating. He says, but she also mentions men and women that she fancies. Sounds like this girl is a little bit more of a free spirit, kind of open relationship type of person, just from what I'm hearing you say, and plus what her lifestyle is. He says, when in Paris, we had an incident that overshadowed the trip. A waiter shouted at my girlfriend to move. We were both shocked, and I said the waiter was rude, but I didn't do anything else. I would have said, dude, don't talk to my girlfriend like that. I wouldn't put up with that shit, because you let another dude walk all over your girlfriend or be a rude prick and you don't stand up for her, she's going to perceive you as being weak. He says, like, complained in front of him, and after the shock subsided, we went to another cafe. On Facebook, my girlfriend reported all the negative points of the trip, but no positive ones. Well, that tells me that things weren't really that positive, and like I said, you not sticking up for her, that is definitely a negative. It makes her feel like she can't trust your masculine core, that you're not going to be her protector in essence. In other words, if there was ever a problem where she was in any physical danger, you wouldn't stand up for her. That causes her to not feel safe and comfortable. He says Paris is very expensive, and she made a status telling her friends how expensive it was to get coffees and food. I then reminded her that actually I was paying for it. And he says, bad move, and with a question mark in parentheses. I said, yeah, that's a bad move. He said, so, because that communicates that you're expecting her to acknowledge how much money you're spending on her. He says, so she made another status saying, just been reminded my boyfriend is actually paying. Yeah, that went over like a lead balloon, dude. He says, after the thing with the waiter, we went to another cafe, and she made another status about how we have moved to another cafe, and she's bought us coffees and cake and how expensive it is, around $65. She then made another status about the whole thing, but talked as if she was alone, saying, I left the cafe, then I went to another cafe, and she didn't mention we at all. It was like she went on the trip alone. Yeah, because in that moment, because you didn't stand up for her, she didn't feel safe and comfortable with you. She's shutting down to you emotionally in that moment, and her status is indicative of that. He says, other things I noticed include she put up one photo of us, only one, from the trip, but deleted it from the timeline where most views would be had, but kept it in her photo album. Do you think this infers anything? Yeah, Because when women are in love and you're the source of masculine strength in their life and they adore you and their interest is in the 90% range, they're going to be posting all kinds of pictures. Oh, me and my boyfriend at such and such place. He's so romantic. He had the trip all planned out. He was great. This was awesome. It's one of the best times I ever had. But you see none of that. All you see is her complaining. He says a few weeks later, she went on a weekend with friends and posted up loads of photos and positive comments. See? He says she is now on a 2-week trip with her friends, and she again posted loads of photos and positive comments right from the get-go. He says, I've also noticed she's been liking dating teacher's advice, and she liked a book that was being promoted about being unhappy in relationships and finding ways to let go of the past and lose expectations of a partner, etc. And finding a way to happier dating. Does this mean that she is unhappy? Well, between her actions and the fact that she's obviously definitely trying to gain some kind of clarity about how she feels or your relationship if she's reading those things and posting them there. He says, or is it a positive thing of self-help? I would just look at it as indicative of how she feels about you. He says, now on Facebook, she doesn't seem to mention me at all, but she will talk about everything else. Do you have any insights into what her Facebook is showing? That tells me her interest is definitely dropped because like you were saying in the beginning, she was posting all kinds of things about you. But now it's like she doesn't even mention you. He says, just an added note, as I'm into spirituality, I talk a lot about emotions and being real. I have been hurt in the past and I don't want to be hurt again, and I have had emotional coldness from my father, so I have the need to be loved. So that tells me you're acting needy, and you're probably acknowledging that. He says she's also been hurt, but I mean everybody's been hurt in relationships at some point. Everybody's gotten their heart broken. He says, but I want to ask, could talking a lot about emotions, heavy topic, and spirituality reduce the attraction? Yeah, hang out, have fun, and hook up. It's not hang out, talk about serious, depressing, emotional subjects and hook up. It's hang out, have fun, hook up. He says, or is being open to talking so deeply, will it build attraction? Well, I'd say it definitely sounds like you're talking too much when you're with her. And just the things that I've pointed out in here, you've got to clean up your act. I would say, just from what you've shared here, your relationship is in the danger zone and your girlfriend's interest in you is actually dropping and it's going in the wrong direction because you guys have been together for 4 months now. And at this point, she should be gushing about you constantly on Facebook, and now she's at the point where she's not even mentioning you at all. So I would encourage you to read my book because that will help you figure out where exactly specifically that you're going wrong. But just the fact what you brought up in the end about neediness, it tells me you're talking about things and you're talking her right out of being in love with you, and like I said, you keep going. It looks like, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, these are a lot of the things that I see. I'm not personally an avid Facebook poster. I mean, I post my stuff for my business and my quotes in there, but I'm not posting every little thing about my life and who I'm with and pictures and this and that. I like to keep some things private personally, but like I said, dude, you really need to pay attention. You need to clean up your act because there's a lot of little things that you're doing wrong that are obviously turning your girlfriend off. How do I know? I just look at her actions and what she's doing. So if you have a challenge or a question or an area of your life that you would like to get my help personally with, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.